Welcome back everyone to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about Battlegrounds and what I learned from a perfect season and how I believe it can help all of us go from this to this. So we're going to be sharing some tips, tricks, and I think some thoughts that'll help kind of change your mentality towards Battlegrounds. So number one, Battlegrounds I think is probably the best game mode for improving and learning in this game. Then I think number two, it's got the best rewards, period. Especially with the store update coming this next week. I believe it's next week. There's going to be a lot of great rewards to earn through Battlegrounds. So I think it's well worth it to at least get your solo milestones and get through the victory track. I think those things will be just beneficial for everybody, so we're going to go ahead and jump right in. First things first, guys, join an alliance. You get a Battlegrounds Alliance event, which contains milestones, which helps you earn trophy tokens, the Battlegrounds currency, and also Elder's Marks, which is what lets you get through your solo milestones a little bit faster. So that extra bump can be really, really helpful, and it'll help you get through a little bit better. Next up is deck for the meta, guys. Do your best with your own roster, right? You don't got to be paying for or buying champions and things like that to get your deck somewhat relevant, okay? I understand as free-to-play players, you know, you're probably not going to be doing that. That's for top-tier players. But what you should be doing is at least take a look at the nodes for that particular season and do your best with what you've got. And always, guys, defenders, 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 or at least dual threat champions are kind of the name of the game in Battlegrounds, right? Strict attackers have a bit of a harder time. So, because a really good defender counters far more attackers than virtually any attacker does defenders. So that's something to think about. You know, I myself don't necessarily rank up strict defenders, but I at least try to have dual threat champions. You know, that way I'm getting, a little bit more out of them. So that's something you can think about. Find the champions that you like and enjoy, of course, and see if they can fit into your deck. Learn to fight tough defenders, at least a couple of them, right? So you've got Serpent, Enchantress, Onslaught, Bullseye, Tuma, Korg, and a plethora of other really, really strong defenders that can basically be an automatic loss. But if you practice, you can figure out how to make those fights work and at least get appropriate counters for them. That way they're not as scary. And sometimes, a defender is really, really obvious. Like when someone drafts Onslaught, there's a really, really good chance they're gonna place that Onslaught as a defender. So, you know that. So at least strategically, you can prepare yourself and, honestly, you steal that fight from them and it's so satisfying. When someone places an Onslaught and you just melt them down, it's the best feeling ever. So I'd recommend doing that. Except for probably Serpent. That's a pretty safe ban. Even with appropriate counters, honestly. He's pretty darn tough. But that's something I think you should definitely think about and try doing. Use energy. Practice those fights. Don't ban them. Let them use them. And just see what you can do. And figure it out. And I promise you'll get better. Alright, now let's talk about score. So your score is what you control. Let's not worry about what your opponent's doing. You don't need a super great score. You just need better than your opponent's. So what I've found is that the 45,000 mark is a pretty good benchmark. Okay, so that basically excludes the time bonus. So if you can keep all of your health and defeat the opponent, you have a really, really good chance of winning. I know that's not always possible, so I've done a little bit of math. The same exact score, probably like you'll get 46,000, is finishing with 75% of your health and in a little over 60 seconds. So like 61 to 63 seconds. And you'll come out with about 45 to 46,000 points. So I hope that doesn't sound too tough. That's keeping it real, playing it safe, and just making sure that you get through that defender. So that's something I would recommend. I'd probably push yourselves a little bit further, shoot for 47, 48, and you've got a really safe bet on winning. Right? If someone just blows out your defender, like if you place a bad defender and they just blow them out, 51, 52,000 points, that's just the way it is. Sometimes you can do that, intentionally lose a round to strategically place yourself in a better position for the final tie-breaking round. That's actually kind of what I'm doing here with fighting Photon with Tigra. I've got no shot of really winning this, but it's the next round that I'm aiming for. So that's something to think about too. Another great tip that is kind of outside of the matches themselves is the season. Start your season later, okay? Because what's happening is at the very beginning of the season, everybody gets reset. Even the top tier players get reset to, more towards the end of the victory track, right? So like I start the season in Diamond 5. Every single time I finish, I finish the victory track, I end up in Diamond 5 when it starts over. So let those high tier players get out of the way, right? Don't be whale food for them. Just wait. Maybe there's, say, list 28 days in a season. Maybe wait till day 20, day 18 to start. And I promise you, you'll be fighting people that are more in your weight class. And hopefully that makes for a much better experience than facing down, a 10 million account and either forfeiting or just getting, wiped out completely. And if you do come across a large account like that, just treat it as practice. It'd be like if you're playing a street pickup ball game with your friends and LeBron James showed up and you were forced to play him. I'm sure you'd at least give it a shot just to say you play with LeBron James. So that's something to think about too. And I'll leave you all with that. Best of luck in the Battle Realm, my friends.